Guys, it's been a long time coming, but I'm proud to announce that my hands are finally registered with the International Registry of Lethal Hands. This is the only place where your God-given gifts of danger can get the recognition that they truly deserve. Now you might be thinking, why on earth would anybody need to register their hands as lethal? Let me break it down for you. There are those among us whose hands are so downright dangerous, they need to be documented. Registration is a moral responsibility, and it's a vote for the greater good of humanity. The sole mission of the International Registry for Lethal Hands is to catalog the most formidable hands on the planet. So if you know someone, and you even suspect they possess lethal hands, do not hesitate. Register them immediately. And if you've ever looked at your own hands and thought, damn, these dogs are dangerous, don't settle. Go register. Head over to registeryourhands.com, fill out a simple form, and you're official. Remember, use the promo code Chael to save 20%, or just click on the link below. Does Ian Garry have to stop Rakhmonov's takedowns? That's a big question going into this fight, and I've heard people breaking this match down, and there's always you almost know who the hardcore guy is in the room, because he will instantly, lazily default back to the way things used to be, which is, if you've got a striker, take him down. If the guy's a grappler, stop his takedown. That hasn't been true in well over 2 decades. But I do find even myself defaulting to it at times. So if we were to look at it from that perspective, because Michael Bisping weighed in, and Michael Bisping said if Ian Garry cannot stop the takedown, he will be finished. All right, but what if he does stop the takedown? Or what if Rakhmonov doesn't go for a takedown? And I'm only asking you, I'm asking you, and I want history to support your response. In what fight, and Rakhmonov has had 19, in what fight did you see him get outboxed? Now, I'm just talking about outstruck, and it was with one of your hands. Okay, what fight did you see him get out kickboxed? So now those are strikes. They got the hands and they got the legs involved. At what strike? At what moment? I know there was never a fight in its totality. I know there was never even a round in its totality. Was there a sequence? Was there a moment? Rakhmonov did a very good job of closing the distance in his very last fight. And that was roughly a year ago from time of his fight with Ian Garry. And that was against Wonder Boy. And Wonder Boy has as awkward and as sophisticated of a style as you're ever going to have to come across. Like, if you can get to Wonder Boy, you can probably navigate your way through a buzzsaw. It's a very rare thing to do, and I just remember during that fight being very impressed because Rakhmonov did it. But did he have to do it? Like, there's some level of urgency? Not that I saw. Was there something within the fight where those punches and or kicks were getting to him? Wonder Boy's tall glass of water. It's not quite as tall as Ian Garry. Wonder Boy's style is more complex, and his power is more extreme than Ian Garry. Ian Garry's a kickboxer. He's by the numbers. Everything's with a feint. Everything's in combinations. Everything kicks follow hands, and hands never follow kicks. I mean, just for example, he's really great at it. But he's not a power puncher. I don't doubt that Ian Garry has put somebody down, but I must tell you, I don't remember it happening. I have seen guys not be able to stand after a cumulative amount of strikes. And I'm just wondering, because I don't feel that we know Rakhmonov that well. You want to know where a lot of this is coming from? It's not just from Bisping's comment. You want to know where a lot of the genesis of my thought right now is coming from? It's coming from Tom Aspinall. Tom said that one reason Jones didn't want to fight him is because Jones is such a student of the sport and he likes to sit down with all the guys' tapes and study him. Come up with a plan and then go in there and execute. And Tom said he doesn't know anything about me. If he goes and watches 5 of my fights, he's seen less than 5 minutes of me fighting. And it's a very interesting comment. Now, how true it is within Jon's mind, consciously or subconsciously, I'm not all that interested in. I was interested for myself, going, you know what, as a matter of fact, I have questioned Tom's wrestling at times. I've questioned Tom's ability to take somebody down or to even get up from the bottom. But the other side of it is, I haven't seen him fight enough where that actually ever got tested. I don't remember a fight where Tom went for a takedown and didn't get it. I don't remember a time when Tom was on bottom and in danger, couldn't handle himself or get back to his feet. I don't know if I've ever seen him go for a takedown. I don't know if I've ever seen him on bottom. That's my only point. So I'm asking you now, does it apply to Rakhmonov? Rakhmonov with 19 fights, but all of them finishes. We talk about he beat 19 men, but he won every single round. That's the part that gets left out. Nobody has won a round against Rakhmonov. And it makes it overly complex. So now if he hasn't lost a fight and he hasn't lost a round, I've got to break it down smaller and ask you, has there been a sequence? Has there been a combo and or a scenario that made Rakhmonov uncomfortable to where he had an urgency to change the dynamic of the sequence or scenario? Not that I know of. Not that I'm aware of, no. If he has wanted somebody down, he took them there. If he wanted to keep them there, he did. If he wanted to pass, he did. If he wanted to submit, and I'm just wondering it from that perspective, because when I do hear grappler versus striker, and it's a very lazy approach, but you're not going to get away with that in this case, because Ian Garry is not that kind of a striker. If it was a question of who is more likely, due to the power of their punch, to put the other down with one lucky shot, I can imagine that's a 50-50. You can't just tip that on the side of Ian Garry. He's not damaged more people on his feet. He has not hurt more people on his feet. He has not finished more people on his feet. He is not a power puncher. So, could Ian Garry protect himself on the ground with Rakhmonov? And so many times when that question gets asked, you automatically assume it from the standpoint of the top guy, but there's two positions on the ground. Is there a scenario? Can Ian Garry sweep him? Can he find those triangles? He started to show us some submissions to a level that we had never seen before when he fought with Michael Venom Page. And while you may tell me that Venom Page isn't this elite grappler, you don't really know how good Venom Page is at grappling. You don't see a whole lot of it. And my only point is that Garry had never shown that before, went and traded with Damian Maia for one camp, and then started breaking out, utilizing it to the point that it even won him the contest. It's just an interesting concept. It really is. Because the winner of this fight has a lot on it. The storyline going into this is awesome, and nobody's going to tell it. Rakhmonov, to my understanding, does not have the ability to speak. He mutters something, and then hopefully somebody else tells you what he said. And Ian Garry is a little bit uncomfortable speaking about Rakhmonov because they used to be teammates. So you've got the story that's never going to be told, but it does at least at a minimum appear that your winner goes on to fight Blachal for a world championship. I believe the loser of that fight, right? We had two welterweights today come out and proclaim they're on cards with no opponents. One is Leon Edwards, and the other is George Masvidal. In the idea of Ian Garry, who's the underdog here, versus Leon Edwards, an old training partner, I can live with that. But the idea of Ian Garry versus George Masvidal, that I would be quite excited about.